And welcome to the weekly college highlights and rankings show presented on NSCAA TV by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. The world's largest soccer coaches organization, NSCAA is dedicated to providing the best in soccer coaching education and membership services and benefits. Visit nscaa.com for more information. And today's show is presented by Continental Tire. Continental Tire is the presenting sponsor of the NSCAA Highlights and Rankings show right here on NSCAA TV. Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Find out more at continentaltire.com. Hello and welcome to the NSCAA TV Continental Tire Studios for another edition of the NSCAA TV College Highlights and Ranking Show. My name is Dean Linke, delighted to be with you. We're on the road now calling games already for the NSCAA TV. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll break down the rankings for men and women at all levels. We'll have a special feature on UCF midfielder Megan Fish. We'll take a look at the powerhouses for the Messiah men's and women's programs at the Division III level. And we'll hear from the top man at Maryland, Sasso Soroski, whose Maryland Terrapins will take on Duke on Friday right here on NSCAATV.com. Big show, and gets even bigger here as we're welcoming my broadcast partner, Charlie Slagle, to break down the men and the women. We're going to start with the women as they've already played 2 weeks, Charlie, and it's been super exciting out of the gates.
No question, and the early games have been good, and there's been a lot of big-time teams against big-time teams, and that's what you like to see.
Well, and that's going to continue to roll on. As we take a look here at the top 10, it's unbelievable. The North Carolina Tar Heels, #1 in the country. They've already beaten Santa Clara. They've already beaten New Mexico. They'll play #3 UCLA at Duke next weekend, a part of a big matchup, Charlie.
Yes, and their two Herman Watch folks have done very well. Kalia Ohai and Crystal Dunn. Ohai has 3 goals and 3 assists, and Dunn has 4 goals so far for Anson Dorrance. That tournament is going to be big. There's 4 top 20 teams in that tournament at Duke.
All right, as you look at the rest of the top 10, who else do you want to highlight?
Well, UCLA, of course. UCLA, 10 goals for, 1 against. They don't start school until September, so they've already been in South Bend for a tournament where they beat Notre Dame over the weekend, and now they're coming to Duke to play against Carolina and Duke. 4 goals by Darian Jenkins for Amanda Cromwell's team. So that is it's a big one in the top 10. If you look at it, 5 ACC teams are in the top 10. ACC record right now against non-conference foes is 44-6-3, 86% winning percentage, followed by the Big Ten with 76%, and then you have the Pac-12 at 74%, the Big 12 at 72%, and the Big East at 71%.
Breaking down those numbers, Wake Forest at 7, Notre Dame at 8, Baylor at 9. Becky Burley's team lost to Florida State there at number 10. All right, we flipped the chart, and Coach Ryan's Michigan Wolverines is right there at 11. You mentioned Duke. They've got West Virginia coming to town this weekend.
They do, and Duke has the 1 loss to South Carolina in the first weekend, where Robbie Church actually scheduled Texas A&M on the road, followed by a Columbia trip to play against South Carolina. Very young D, but they have only allowed 27 shots in 4 games. They've only scored 3 goals, but only allowed 1 goal so far. Georgetown comes in at 4-0. Dave Nolan's team, Audra Ayotte, has scored 3 goals and 3 assists for 9 points. They're going to be in our area to play NC State, who got started with a 4-0 record with Tim Santora. Good win at Navy, and 3 expected wins after that.
All right, good stuff. You see Maryland women's team at 4-0 as well. And then the final 5, the Ohio State Buckeyes, Wisconsin, a couple Big Ten teams in the final 5.
Yes, and Pepperdine, number 22, Tim Ward's team, Lynn Williams, the WAC Player of the Week, had a 25-yard rocket for a goal against Wright State, and then had 2 more goals against A&M. So a big week for Pepperdine.
All right, now it's time to take a look at the Disney Soccer NSCAA National Players of the Week, announced every Tuesday during this program. And first we, of course, go to the women. Lynn Williams from Pepperdine, a junior forward out of Fresno, California. She led Pepperdine to a 2-0-1 record last week, posting 7 points on 3 goals and an assist. She's on the Mac Herman watch list and scored back-to-back game winners against Wright State on the road and against number 19 Texas A&M. Her efforts also earned her WCC Women's Soccer Player of the Week honors. Congratulations to Lynn Williams from Pepperdine. All right, we just broke down the top 25. You won't see in that list the University of Central Florida, now led by former Tar Heel Tiffany Roberts Sahadic and her husband Tim Sahadic, Tiffany Roberts and Tim Sahadic. Thank you so much. They're now down at UCF, and they've got a very special young woman down there, Megan Fish, who has overcome so much, including the death of her father, who was a true inspiration and remains an inspiration. Let's take a look at her story.
The first one I ever got was the one on my neck, and it's a fish. And then on the top it has his name, Carmen Fish, and then the A, it's like a cancer ribbon. And then on the bottom's Carpe Diem. And that's, what he had tattooed on his arm, which means seize the day. And so I got it, going into college. It was like I was taking a piece of him with me. I always feel like he's like looking out for me, like he's got my back. And then after my freshman year, I went through some stuff with knees and stuff like that, so came across a card, my last birthday card from him. And it said, follow your dreams. So I got that written on my arm. So when I'm running, when I'm doing anything, I can just like look down and I see him like push me. It gives me that extra like push to break through that wall or anything if I'm exhausted. And my mom actually sent me the card. So I took it to the tattoo artist. They like scanned it, put it on, and people are always like, did you spell it wrong? Because the handwriting's like bad, but then that makes me smile because it's like the imperfection of him. That's why he was who he was. With everything he had, he would come from the hospital from chemo, go straight to work. Like with his bag of chemo, his counts were low, like he'd be sick, but he'd go straight to work because he knew at the end of the day, like that's what he had to do to get where he wanted to be. That made me see, like, you can literally do anything you want. And that's, follow your dreams is cliche, but I'm a dreamer, and it's because of my dad that I am. And I feel like because of what he's like taught me, him and my mom both, I'm gonna be able to one to like catch my dreams.
Hey, Miss C. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I just don't want you boys to be late for your big game. Okay, have fun. I'll be right here after the game.
Continental Tire, the official tire of Major League Soccer.
Tra-la-la, tra-la, tra-la.
Welcome back to the NSCAA TV College Highlights and Rankings Show presented by Continental Tire. Dean Linke along with Charlie Slago. The women are in the books at the Division I level. Let's take a look now at the men Division I. We've got a new #1 team, and I tell you what, same as the women, the UNC Tar Heels #1 after a big weekend, Charlie.
No question. They ended up with 2 wins against Monmouth and Coastal Carolina, and the weekend actually extended till 10:30 yesterday morning on Monday morning because of torrential downpour at the Chapel Hill area. Tyler Engel with 2 goals. Carlos Somwano's team has played very well, and they have Notre Dame looming on Sunday, and I believe that's in South Bend.
And that'll be big. And then right behind them, very familiar name to North Carolina, Elmar Bolovich has done an incredible job at Creighton.
Elmar Bolovich with his son, Alex Bolovich, in goal, also sharing time with Connor Sparrow, but he's played 135 of 180 minutes, and they have 5 goals for, 0 against. Timo Pitter has 2 goals and an assist for 5 points for Creighton, who's 2-0-0 and off to a great start. And then another team that you see every year in there, Akron. New coach, though. Caleb Porter's gone. Jared Embick is there. Went to Charleston, South Carolina for the College of Charleston tournament. Beat Charleston at Charleston, then beat Furman 1-0. And Jared Embick. I don't know if Caleb made this schedule or not, but he has to go to St. John's and play St. John's and Rutgers this weekend. So very difficult games to start the season.
Other teams to look at here in the top 10. Notre Dame, they won the IU Adidas Classic, actually tying UCLA and beating SMU. UCLA beat Indiana in overtime, down a man, a stunner in front of a record crowd in Bloomington, but Indiana is going to be very good. We'll see Louisville as part of the package on NSCAA TV. They'll take on UConn down the road here as well. We mentioned Indiana. New Mexico we'll also see on this package, and then Georgetown is at number 10. All right, flip the chart. Your next 10 here on men's Division I level. Who do you like, Charlie?
Well, Coastal Carolina had a great win against Wake Forest, 1-0, then lost yesterday morning, as we said, to UNC, and that was 0-4. Sean Docking has started off with a very difficult season. Matt Risher scored that goal against Wake Forest. And then unranked UAB, but once again, a team that you usually see in the top 25. They go up to VCU, to the VCU tournament, win 4-0 against VCU, and then 5-1 versus High Point. Diego Navarrete had 2 goals versus VCU and 1 versus High Point. Freddie Ruiz switches that around with 2 versus High Point and 1 versus VCU. So a good start, very good start for UAB.
Worth giving credit to number 11, Cal, which came up with a big win over Maryland. Your pick to win the national championship, and we'll ask Sasso Soroski about that in just a little bit. The pressure of being number 1, perhaps that got to him a little bit, but I doubt it. That would be great on Friday against Duke. UC Santa Barbara, 2 big wins in Midwest country. They beat Tim Lenahan's Northwestern Wildcats 3-1, and then 2 days later rolled into Chicago and beat UIC by a score of 1-0. Syracuse at 17. You mentioned UAB, Washington, and Brown, another program on the rise. All right, in your final 5, Charlie, break it down.
Well, look at North Carolina Wilmington. UNC Wilmington 2-0. We're unranked, just like UAB was, and they're up to number 24. That's a big jump for Wilmington.
All right, on Friday night, it's going to be Maryland and Duke. The crew is going to be out. It's some of the best fans in the country, if not the best fans, Charlie Slago. And I'll tell you what, Maryland is a team, as you know, it's not got 1 starting team, but 2 starting teams. They're so exciting. They're starting to mesh. We got some video of these players practicing, and then we caught up with Sasso Soroski as well.
Very positive impression. First of all, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm real proud of all of our returning players. They really put in a lot of work this summer. They've come back fit and hungry and very determined, and the freshman group is just a fun group. They're just outstanding people, and this morning they made a very good impression, and they're going to add a lot to this team.
I mean, we've been working the entire summer for this moment. Just to start off, everybody's in good spirits. We're having fun out there. Everybody's really excited.
It's kind of surreal. So exciting to be out here to get involved. We've been doing pickup before this, and this is the first session we've been out with Sasho, and the environment is just great. Everybody's ready to work, and I just love it out here.
We have a really good leadership core, a group of 8 guys that is really gonna be very good for our team as far as leadership goes. I mean, the captains, Pat and Metzger also, we're definitely gonna try to help each other out. It's gonna be fun leading this team because everybody's so involved and so invested already.
The team has done a really good job of kind of integrating us into the squad and making sure we feel comfortable in the locker room, and that obviously carries on to the field.
Get excited because it's going to get fun.
Texas.
Well, we have a good group, and I think you start from up top next to Patrick Mullins. Obviously, everyone knows him, but Sheila Shuma had a terrific freshman year last year, scored 10 goals, and became a really a handful of deals for defenses. I think he's in good form at the moment. And then we have some midfielders. Sonny Jane is an exciting player that you pay to come see, and Alex Shinsky's been a player that's been injured for us that has had a very good preseason and is poised for a very good year. We have, Danny Metzger has been at the core of our midfield for the past year, and he's raised his game a little bit. And then we'll have some young players in the back. Mikey Ambrose is a player that's played left and right back for us. At the moment, he's going to be our most experienced back as a sophomore. So we have some youth at the back. We have some talent there. I think right now Suleiman Dankia and Alex Fernali have shown well and are getting some playing time. And the rest of it's a work in progress.
All right, well said. Now listen, on our first show, not to put any pressure on you, but our men's analyst, Charlie Slago, predicted Maryland to win the national championship. Your take on that, Sasha, especially early doors here?
We're used to the challenge. We're used to people picking us to win championships. It's not our first rodeo. It's not the first time people have done that. And, that's great. That's a sign of respect for things we may have done last year or over time. And we do have some talent, but it does carry an extra burden only if we let it. We've tried to concentrate on the process of playing. When you come to Maryland, you're playing under the bright lights with heavy expectations. And our goal is to keep our eyes on the prize, but focus on the process of playing and take it really one play at a time, not even one game at a time, just one play at a time. We focus, concentrate. Good things will happen if we do that.
Friday night, Maryland Duke, right here on NSCAA TV. Can't wait to see you in College Park, Coach.
Can't wait to see it, Dean. It'll be fun. It'll be a great night. Make sure you tune in.
Today's interviews are presented by Shattuck St. Mary's, a college prep boarding school with a full-time residential soccer center of excellence for boys and girls and a member of the U.S. Soccer Development Academy. To learn more, visit www.s-sm.org. And Sasso Soroski's interview really touch the table for a big matchup on NSCAA TV. The crew will be out in full force. There will not be a seat to be had. ACC men's soccer right here on NSCAATV.com as Maryland welcomes in John Kerr's Duke Blue Devils, as well as more exciting NAIA action the next day right here on NSCAA TV. All right, 1 week in the books. We also have a Disney Soccer NSCAA National Player of the Week on the men's side. And how about the job Pete Caringi III from UMBC did? He scored 2 goals in a pair of 3-1 victories over Seattle and UNLV in the UMBC-hosted Spring Hill Suites Kickoff Classic. He earned Most Valuable Player in the tournament, recording his 5th and 6th career multi-goal games. Congratulations to Pete Caringi III, the Disney Soccer NSCAA Men's Division I Player of the Week.
Did we win?
Continental Tire, the official tire of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the NSCAA College Highlights and Ranking Show presented by Continental Tire. Dean Linke still with Charlie Slago here. Remember now, Division II action starts next week, so no need to run through those rankings. Already playing, though, at the Division III level. Let's begin with the women, and of course, Messiah had another big weekend.
No question. Messiah had 2-0 victories. They played against Alma and won 2-0, and Kylie Bridle had the game winner there. And then also they played against Scranton and also won 2-0. And Nikki L. Cesar scored 3 of their 4 goals for Coach Scott Fry. Also, if you look, Lynchburg at number 8, they beat Salisbury 2-1 and Birmingham Southern 5-1 at the Roanoke College kickoff tournament for Coach Todd Olson. Desi Dupuis had the game winner in the 76th minute against Salisbury. And then Morgan Singer, a sophomore from Yorktown, Virginia, had a hat trick in the game against Birmingham Southern. The top 10 pretty much stayed exactly the same, except Hardin Simmons dropped out, but everybody else is the same, at least maybe with a couple differences in numbers.
All right, not featured in the top 10 were two teams, though, in the top 20. Number 12, Brandeis, with a 1-0 win over number 15, MIT. And the game winner was scored by junior All-American forward Dara Spital. And check out this game winner. It's her 9th in her career with game-winning goals, tying her for 4th. And she was also up there last year in Division III the entire year. A big-time goal for Dara Spital to help Brandeis, number 12, get a big win over number 15. All right, now let's take a look at the player of the weeks as well here on the Division III level. First, for women, of course, the senior forward from Brockport, Vanessa Gillette. She is from Fredonia, New York. She played a pivotal role in Brockport's opening weekend against Moravian College. She scored 2 goals and assisted on the other 2, including the game winner in overtime. Her 6 points place her second on the team in offense. Rolling on here on the NSCAA College Highlights and Rankings show. Now we'll take a look at the Men Division II rankings, and there's Messiah again at number 1.
Messiah's up there, and but we're not going to highlight them because we'll probably get a chance to highlight them a lot of this year. We're going to highlight number 6, Luther, the Norse. They went down to Trinity and played Southwestern of Texas, and also Trinity won 1-0 and 2-0. Coach Chris Garcia-Prats with a huge start. They unranked last week, and now they're at number 6. Logan Martell had the game winner against Southwestern. And then Claremont Mud Scripps, also unranked. Dan Kalichman, former national team player, they won 3-1 at Westmont. Mehran Abdi, Jake Bishop, and Michael Crowley scored the goals for Dan Kalichman's team.
All right, let's take a look now at the player of the week for NCAA Division III. It's none other than Shane McCracken from McDaniel. He's a junior forward from Marysville, Maryland. He had a breakout weekend, scoring 17 points on 8 goals and an assist. He registered 4 goals in each of the Green Terrors' 2 games, marking the first time in program history a player has recorded 4 or more tallies in back-to-back contests. 17 points on 8 goals. Congratulations. Well, Charlie, you said we're not going to highlight Messiah, but indeed we are, as what a great program to highlight. Exactly. Scott Fry doing a great job with the women. Brad McCarty doing a great job with the men. They had a big weekend. They're both your reigning champs. Let's take a look at the powerhouse that is Messiah men's and women's college soccer.
Hi everyone, Steve King coming to you for both Messiah College and NSCAA TV. Behind me is Shoemaker Field, home to both the men's and women's NCAA Division III defending national champions. Last year, the Falcons men's team defeated Ohio Northern 5-1 in the national final. They scored 4 goals in the first 20 minutes to stun the Polar Bears en route to their 9th championship in program history. On the women's side, the Falcons avenged an early season loss to Emory University by defeating the Eagles 1-0 in the national final. It was their 5th championship in program history. Messiah College is the only NCAA institution, regardless of division, to win the men's and women's soccer national championship in the same season. Last year was the 4th time the Falcons have done just that. Earlier this week, I caught up with coaches Brad McCarty and Scott Fry to talk about the start to the 2013 seasons. Sitting here with Scott Fry and Brad McCarty, Messiah College soccer coaches, coming off a couple weeks here of training, getting ready for the 2013 season. Brad, let me start with you. Coming into this season, defending national champions, what are some things that you're focusing on with your team in the first couple weeks leading into the season, coming off a championship season? What are you guys working on?
Yeah, I think for us, for our seniors that graduated last year, they may not have played as many minutes, but provided a lot of leadership in regard to team chemistry. And so we've been focused on that quite a bit. We wanted to make sure that we handled the big freshman class coming in and make sure that our returning players understand who we are and what we're all about, and we've been working really hard at that.
Yeah. Scott, for you, 2-time actually defending national champions. Coming to this season, some opponents may think you're going to take a dip this year only because you graduated some really solid players from last year. National Player of the Year, Alex Brandt among them. When you're replacing some of those really good players, and you've made 9 straight trips now to the Final Four, 6 straight trips to the championship game, obviously you're replacing those players somehow. They're graduating every year. What are some things that you're doing in your program to keep your momentum going?
Yeah, I think there's no question. Like we've felt a little bit of that here early preseason, and so it's developing those players to replace those roles. And I think we realized in the first couple of weeks we graduated an all-senior midfield, and so that sort of brain thrust and engine of the team it's going to take a little time, a little experience, and so we've been doing a lot of training with that area of the field to catch them up to speed. But I think in the end, I think it can be a pretty good group.
Yeah. For Division III soccer fans across the country, very familiar with Messiah at this point after more than a decade now of solid success on the women's and the men's side. But for those that are not as familiar with Messiah soccer, for the women, what can you tell some fans out there to expect if they were to watch a game, what they would see on the field from your players?
You know, I think for us, it's just a really purposeful game. I think that's important as I watch us play, or we work with our players, that there's a real intentionality with how we play, that there's a design, there's a system, there's a thought process. And I think for our younger players, that can sometimes be a little bit of a thing to learn, because it's like, I'm just not free to do what I do, and then it's sort of a growing and go backwards and grow again experience in our program. And so I think, you know, my biggest thing though is it's just a really purposeful and thought out process as we play.
Yeah, and Brad, I hear you kind of nodding along as Scott's talking over there. Maybe similar challenges for you each and every year, trying to put the same product but keeping it sharp, and that's a challenge. So for fans out there, if they were to come and see a Messiah men's soccer game, anything different on the men's side, what could fans expect to see?
You know, I think to watch us play, I think, you know, we do an unbelievable job of moving the ball, to keep it on the ground, possessing the ball, and we want to attack. And we talk a lot about aggressive discipline. We don't want to just pass the ball in the back. We want to have the ball in our opponent's half. And so, you know, I think we press really hard defensively, and we want to keep the ball. We want to have the ball. You know, Scott and I have talked about this preseason, our desire, both as coaches and as a team, to keep the ball and create scoring opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a long season ahead. Exciting to get underway here this weekend, so we'll look forward to seeing you on the field. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Both Messiah teams are again ranked #1 in the NSCAA Continental Tire preseason top 25 poll. With that in mind, a lot of eyes are sure to be following the Falcons again this season. With Messiah College and NSCAA TV, I'm Steve King.
Global Mills needed to unload excess inventory, and we must make room. So right now, you can get an unheard-of flooring deal at Lumber Liquidators Flooring Clearance Sale. Get first quality laminate from 39 cents a square foot. Beautiful bamboo from 59 cents. Pre-finished hardwood from 99 cents. And all vinyl plank flooring is on sale. Plus, get 12 months special financing. First come, first served. These deals will not last. Don't wait. Our flooring clearance sale is going on now. Get to Lumber Liquidators before these deals get away.
Each year, the NSCAA puts over 7,000 coaches through our coaching education program. Youth, high school, and college coaches at all levels participate in the diploma courses. Join your peers and get educated. Better coaching, better players, better game. NSCAA Coaching Academy. Improving soccer, one coach at a time. Register today at nscaa.com/education.
Welcome back to the NSCAA TV studios, presented right here by Continental Tires. We break down the highlights and the rankings. It's now time to get to the NAIA as well as the junior college level, Charlie Slagle. And let's start with the NAIA women.
Well, when you start with the women, you start with Lindsey Wilson. They're #1 in the country, a 5-2 victory over Spring Arbor, who was #3, and they did that on the road. 2 goals for Renee Hurd, and they also beat Davenport 3-0. And then also, if you look at the Embry-Riddle, have played Mobile and beat Mobile in Daytona Beach 2-0, and then also played Northwood. So they also lost to, they tied Northwood and then lost to St. Thomas. So 1-1-1 against a very difficult schedule for the Eagles.
All right, that is for the women. Congratulations to those top 10 teams. Let's roll to the NAIA men.
Well, we have a game on Saturday night. It's Belhaven versus Rio Grande, and many people might think that Rio Grande is mispronounced, but it isn't. It's in Ohio. It's not in Texas. But Belhaven started off with a 3-1 win over Talladega. David Major with the game-winning goal. That's Coach Brian McMahon down there. And then Rio Grande. Now, I don't know if you know this about Rio Grande. It's the home of Bob Evans. Bob Evans' farm is there. The original store is there. Coach Scott Morrissey, they beat St. Xavier 7-1, and then they also beat Indiana Wesleyan 1-0. Louis Feho got the victory, and gets me hungry when I have to talk about Bob Evans. But those are the two teams we're going to highlight this week for the NAIA.
Congratulations. You see Lindsey Wilson at number 3, matching almost the women as well. Let's roll on now to the junior college level and start with Division I women, Charlie.
Division I women, you have the Laramie County. Started off very difficult for Coach Jim Gardner. They beat Butler 3-1, who you see as number 6, and then they lost to Iowa Western 2-0. But it's always great when you see those teams going out and not playing easy games, but playing against each other. So early in the season for the JC Women Division I, and we'll see what happens as we move forward in the season.
Well, you mentioned that win by Iowa. That puts them at number 2, Iowa Western Community College. Number 1 is Paradise Valley Community College. Down near the bottom, 7, 8, and 9, you've got Monroe Community College as well as Monroe College, both in New York, as two very good programs. Let's roll to the Division I men at the junior college level.
Yes, and we're also going to look at Iowa Western there. Coach Jordan Carver, they went to Otero and won 4-3, and they also went to Laramie and won 2-1. They played Central and beat them 8-0, and they also beat Cloud County 1-0, so good start for 4-0. And then Dakota County, 5-0 already. The Blue Knights, coached by Cam Stoltz, have done a great job up there in Minnesota.
It'll be tough to knock off Tyler Junior College. They're always there at number 1, followed by Darton State and Lewisburg. Okay, now Junior College Division III women, Charlie Slago.
And Gloucester Community College is 2-0, a 4-1 victory against Burlington, 2 goals for Liz Faulkner for Coach Megan Ruddle's team. And then I've got to go after number 5, SUNY Broome, or Broome Community College. My backyard when I was growing up on Boland Road touched Broome Community College. We called it Broome Tech. They are the 2007 and 2008 national champions. They had a 1-0 victory against Finger Lakes. Danielle Tyrell scored the goal for Coach Bill Rich's team. So that's where I grew up. I actually have, well, I don't have it anymore, but I had a pair of shorts that were ripped from climbing over the tennis fence, and it actually got written up in the paper. So I was a little bit, my mother found out about that one.
Too much information, I would say. 7, 8, and 9, College of the Canyon, Cypress College, and Ocean County College, as those are your junior college Division III women. And how about junior college Division III men?
Well, you have LA Harbor College, 2-0, unranked last week in the poll of 20. Bill Barlow in his 17th year. Aurelio Pardita had a hat trick against Southwestern City, and then also a couple goals for Jesus Gutierrez against Santa Barbara City College in a 4-2 victory. And then Lassen, also unranked last week, 2-1 victory over Hartnell and a 3-1 victory over Monterey Peninsula. That victory for Coach Ben Wade, and that must be nice to go to the Monterey Peninsula to play.
Indeed. Great job breaking down all of the rankings here on the NSCAA TV College Highlights and Rankings Show. Remind you that we'll be here next week for another edition of the NSCAA Weekly College Highlights and Rankings Show, presented by the good folks from Continental Tire. Tuesday, September 10th at 1 p.m., breaking down a big weekend of action on the men's and women's level, particularly in Division I level. Some big matchups between top 10 and top 20 teams. Can't wait to see where we are for that next week as well. Charlie, as Dean Linke along with Charlie Slago, any final comments after just a couple weeks of college soccer?
It's college soccer season. Why do you need any comments? It's fun. A lot of great teams being played. Conference starts playing in a little bit in the women first and then the men. But the men are starting us, as you said, Maryland Duke this week on TV. That should be a great one. And that Bellhaven Rio Grande on Saturday should be great in the NAI.
All right. Well, he's Charlie Slago. I'm Dean Linke. I want to thank our producer, director, Kyle Lang as well, all the good folks at NSCAA out in Kansas City. I want to thank the SIDs. Keep the great information coming, all the coaches, and, of course, our sponsors. And this show, of course, is being brought to you by the NSCAA, the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. They work every day to inspire coaches and ignite their passion for the game, so they pass it on to players and others in the soccer community. That goal is fulfilled through 3 core values: learn, participate, belong. Visit nscaa.com for more information. And remember, Friday night, Maryland Duke, 7 o'clock, right here on nscaatv.com.